not? Jason walk off.
Why is he so special?
I know. Can I just go and get some water because I'm
Yeah,
very
do your thing.
tired.
Of course, my dog decide now.
So you really don't need me to ask any questions, right? We're not going doing any round table or anything like that.
If you want to, always open. Because the only round table solutions. You good with that?
I know.
If you feel the vibe, I wouldn't like call you out, but if you feel the vibe, you jump.
Okay, all right. Let me see. Am I okay? Nadine went to get some water. Jason.
All right, while she do that, let me get us on Facebook so there's no tantana. Share on your timeline. Jason, you could do me a favor. When I share it on To Be Caribbean timeline, could you share it on your timeline and tag us?
We can't hear you, Jason.
Oh, somebody unmute me. I wonder who. Somebody mute me. I wonder who.
You'd mute your damn self because nobody heard you.
Fighting against the one man on here, but it's all right, you know.
Yes,
Black man will rise.
Exactly it. You found us out.
All right, so my dog sleeping the whole time. Why, when we're about to start, he decided he's getting up. Nadine Sutherland speaks.
Well, never really hear him still, you know, so you're good.
Yeah, and entertainment.
So
Nadine,
on Facebook, we're not allowed to I'm sorry, charging. What you need now? Hold on, now give Messiah his headphones though. Why doesn't Facebook allow you to copy other people's story onto your story?
All right, we're about to go live. Everybody good? Energy check. Everybody cool? I am nervous.
Before we're going any further, Nadine, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Once again, you're late, but okay.
Yeah, man.
I didn't say it, so I can say it. Thank you very much. Sure.
All right. Everybody mute your Facebook so we don't get the background noise. And in 3, 2, 1. Oh, I should have put Alexa to play some music. Oh well. Oh, good. All right.
Jason, there's your son in the background. Okay, he gone.
Okay, so you're seeing it? You're seeing the video on the page, Tris?
Not yet.
There we go. Good job, Jason. What? Oh. Yes, Jason, you come true. You come true. Thank you, Mr. DJ. She's like, out. I'm done.
Nadine, if you want to say anything to us and it not be obvious, you can type in the chat.
You know we live, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Address. Address. Anyway, Massive and Crew, we have with us today Miss Nadine Sutherland, the one and only Terror Fabulous, classic. I don't care what kind of music it is, classic. This is not old, it's gold. You understand? I remember when that song came out, by the way. I know this is not the way to start the show, but I'm just saying, I remember when that song came out, we were on such a high because of the success of that song. It let us know, wait, dancehall can do something on the world stage. And then Nadine was such a perfect person to be in the meld, by the way, who I call the princess of reggae, that the imagery is something that works even with people who don't know about dancehall music, Jamaican music. Just saying, it was just such a hype. Like, we're like, yo, things can go on. Like, we can have big success. Anyway, I do apologize. Caribbean Kurrent.
Thank you, Jason, for that totally unplanned introduction, but very necessary. Thank you, thank you. Greetings, crew. Welcome to another episode of Caribbean Kurrent. It's a series where we spark extremely important conversations in the Caribbean community because we need to have conversations. We need to talk, we need to chat, and we need to, most importantly, figure out solutions, right? My name is Marissa, founder of To Be Caribbean. We have most of the crew here today, and they'll introduce themselves in a few. But I just wanted to talk about how we're going to start off today, right? It is the end of a very special month for the team, the To Be Caribbean team. It was a month where we launched our Caribbean Current Live. It's a month where we celebrated US Virgin Islands History Month. And it's also the month where we celebrated International Women's History Month. And given the fact that there seems to be a lot of domestic violence and just violence against women right now that's being amplified, we thought that today's topic was extremely important, especially now, about how do we empower and protect our women. And for today's discussion, we're focusing in the industries of Caribbean media and entertainment. And we're going to talk about the issues that we see, but more importantly, what action we can take to change the trajectory of how things are going. And to help us with this important conversation, we have a very, very, very special guest. So I will step out now and let the king of intros and outros introduce our very special guest.
By the way, I like how you said actions that we can.
Yeah, you see it.
I saw it. So ladies and gentlemen, everybody who's listening in, thank you for taking the time. It is an honor today to have one of, well, let me just say personally, one of the most influential people for me out of the business of music out of Jamaica, for me personally, for my little sister Kerry, hands down, and my mom as well, blessings, because she has been just an amazing individual to us. But more importantly, to the music. 11 years old, winning Tasty Talent Competition, being mentored by the Honorable King Robert Nuster Marley, having a big tune out of Tough Gong Records already on radio at 11. And then to go on to have major hits, Action, Anything for You, Rainbow, all the way up to Chatty Chatty, all these things, has been a major contributor to our music. I call her the princess of reggae because of this. But not only just hit songs, but the way she has represented herself as a representative of the music and of Jamaica. She has always been the epitome of class, the epitome of execution. She's businesslike, and then on top of it, compassionate, always caring, great performer. She's very serious. You remember the action video and all them dance steps? Them dance steps was just being made, and she was already doing it and doing it right. She wanted to make sure she did it perfectly right, which she did do. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to Caribbean Kurrent, the princess of reggae, Nadine Sutherland!
Big up, big up.
So I have to clap the intro there, Jason. No,
Right?
No, sir. It's awesome. Thank you for that, Jason. And I love the princess of reggae. The queen still lives, Sister Marcia Griffiths. So I am so thankful for that big compliment, because that's a big compliment.
Well, we have to big up, we have to talk the things them, and give facts where the facts are due. Definitely. Roses for you, darling, roses for you.
We deserve to give people roses while they're still here. So I appreciate that. So we're going to speak about women in the music industry. That's the topic for today.
Yes, that's the topic. So we want to talk about how we empower women. But before we get to that part of it, we just want to talk about the journey, some of the challenges, some of the successes. Before we jump in, I just want to acknowledge Trissa, who's on our team, and she'll be helping us with keeping everything flowing. She's our producer for today. Everybody knows Jason, who will introduce himself again. Acknowledge our IG crew who's tuning in. Thank you so much. And our Facebook Live crew. And with that, we're going to jump right in. So Nadine, before you start, I wanted to share some statistics with the crew because I think it's important for us to have data, right? When we talk about topics like this that could get very emotional and very challenging. Jason, get ready. You have a crew of women around you. But, women in media and entertainment, right? So I was looking for some numbers about the Caribbean industry. And of course, no surprise, there was very little out there. But McKinsey did an overall study in 2020. And some of the numbers we saw was that despite everyone saying media and entertainment is male dominated, there are at least 49% of women who represent the workforce in media and entertainment, which I thought was extremely significant. However, of those, only 27% are leaders in the media and entertainment industry or in C-suite in general. Yet still, in terms of career satisfaction, 77% of women are very satisfied with their jobs in media and entertainment. And there are a lot of things you could pull from that information, a lot of layers to this conversation. But what I wanted to focus on for the team, at least to start us off, is the fact that despite those statistics, we still hear so many stories about, women being put in very compromising situations, especially in the media and entertainment world. We know that there's this whole thing about sex sells and a focus on women's bodies versus their talent. We know we've heard horror stories of women being raped and, just general oppression when it comes to women in the media and entertainment world. And there seems to be a disconnect with the numbers we just heard. So Nadine, I wanted to hear from you in terms of your experience. You've been doing this since you're 11. Like, what are some of the challenges you faced as a woman rising in media and entertainment?
It's interesting enough that you speak about the hypersexuality that is present in the entertainment industry where women is concerned. But I think that when you look at the power structure and the hierarchy, a lot of it starts with men. And I think they position women's body for the male gaze, right? It's like, man loved that. I remember when I was growing up in the music industry and I was encouraged to be a little bit more sexual. I told them I am okay with what I was. I think that having a crop top and a little skirt and winding up myself in half-picture was enough sex that I wanted to sell. And it's not that I have anything about hypersexuality. If it's okay with you, it's okay with you. For me, it wasn't comfortable in my being.
Right.
This hypersexualized kind of sexuality that is present right now for basically targeting the male gaze. Now, I think that in terms of the power of it, it has shifted a lot. I think that probably back in the days, a woman would be encouraged and she would succumb because she feels that's the only way to make it. And you have situations like those. But I think in some sense now, women have grasped back that hypersexuality and said, okay, I know that this is what sells. I want to buy my house. I want to drive my BMW. I would play the game, but at the end of the thing, at the end of the day, I am sending my picnic to college.
Right. Have a goal.
So she uses it and she's just like, it's her source of empowerment because you look at it, she basically probably would have no other source of empowerment and she grasps that power within herself. Some of them don't touch them. You know of incidents of people with hypersexual images. You as a man do not, desecrate. I'm trying to find the street term. You don't cross those boundaries. You can look at her split on her head top, but you don't cross any boundaries of trying to put your hand in places that it's supposed not to go. And we slap you or tell them some Jamaican. So I'm gonna start with my journey, which was pretty interesting because I won TC Talent Contest. And I'm trying to use me as, my journey as probably just an example and, speak about female issues. Use my journey as a vehicle for one to understand. I won TC Talent Contest, and there were two scouts from Tufcon, was Darren Jobson and there was Sandy Davis. At that time, Darren Jobson was Bob Marley legal counsel. And that to me was exceptional because the patriarchy and sexism in the music industry and misogyny is what we're experiencing years after is totally yin and yang. It is still present in the modern day context, but in terms of what was there, the old school context. So when I look back at it, we know being more informed about those issues, it's tremendous to see that there was a woman in such a powerful position in Bob Marley's organization, being that he was Rastafari, he was Jamaican, and that patriarchal, misogynistic kind of culture. The next thing that I did my first recording, Starvation on the Land, but I'm gonna speak about what was happening around me. Now, looking back with mature lenses, I was being groomed by somebody. I'm not gonna say who it was. Just want to say nobody's not no Bob Marley, so please nobody hear me. I mean, more people stay. I've been in the music industry for years. Bob was always away. I was being groomed by someone. I could not. When you're a child, you don't understand an adult sexual nuances because you're a picnic.
Right, real talk.
You're not supposed to.
Exactly. You're not supposed to. I know say my dolly. I know say me just reach high school. Looking back at it, that man to me was a sick person. It's not that I could say that I was even developed. I was flat-chested. If you look back at pictures of me when I was introduced to the music industry publicly, to me, if anybody have any sexual urges towards me, is a pervert. That man was a straight up pedophile. And I don't even think he understood he was, because that's another dirty secret that, in the world that happened, in that sometimes in some Caribbean communities, let's speak honestly, the encouragement that the hyper masculinities that you're not capable as long as they're a woman. Right. And that was a cultural mindset in some communities. Thank God me did have our father. We call him the Ras with the last. So all those that watch the mango and I wait for the mango for the Rasta man with the last did right.
Not the Ras with the last.
I love it.
We didn't have guns because we were from the country. We had cutlasses. You know what I'm saying? So I realized
just as effective.
I was plucked from the clutches of that man, and I look at it, and if my father could not see with his mature eyes of how he probably was looking on me, probably like mango, you say a ripe mango, and you're thirsty or you're hungry, and just said no. And my father started to be around me a lot. So I will segue into that about sexual harassment, sexual exchanges in the music industry. People saying that you slept, the what I call it, the casting coach, but I always look at it in new lenses and say, okay, it's always about the casting coach and woman sleep them way up, and it's always a judgment on the woman's ethics.
Thank you.
Why is it not a judgment on both ethics? Why is it a man is without integrity?
Woo! Speak on it, yes.
Why is it power? It's something for a woman to move forward that a man would sit down and think. A devious man, because any man who do that is not your masculinity. Whosoever wants to stroke your masculinity, you put somebody in that position and they think they have to do that to move forward. Something wrong with you. But it's always the judgment on the woman. A successful woman is a casting coach. You might have to sleep our way up. You notice it? It's always an indignant on the women and not the men. So those things are obviously in the music industry. I cannot say that they are not. You know, if a woman feels that's their only way, you know, some women resign themselves. You know, I'm here not to judge anybody hustle. I'm just speaking about the situation at hand. I guess that's why, and the thing about it is that I don't like people zeroing in on the music industry and acting like is only in that place it happened. The Me Too movement is right now in the States, a thing that happens to women.
Right.
In general, the music industry has in its structure people of the society. They make up the music industry. Not the sleaziest or the most kinkiest. There are kinky, sleazy people in the society.
In general, yes.
In general, in the corporate world. So I have a problem.
Yeah.
They love to act like the music industry, some freaky, deaky people. Yeah, anything goes. They're all a bunch of, you know. I have a problem with that. So I'm just speaking to that. I'm put.
All right, Jason, I know you're going to react. Let me just summarize the gems because there were so many gems before you respond. So Nadine, I love the fact that you mentioned that these days women, they learning to play chess, right? They're watching the chessboard and they recognizing, yo, I have an end game and I need to play chess a certain way to get there, and they're doing what they have to do, right? So respect for that. I love the point that you made in terms of the pedophiles hiding in plain sight, you know, and there are a lot of hidden truths within, not, as you say, not just the media and music industry, but in general, pedophiles out there trying to look at women, young ladies, groom young ladies, and they don't have the protection. Like you had your father with his lass, you know, and most women do not have that protection, you know. So that's something real that we have to think about. We also talked about the resignation of some females, you know, thinking like this is the way it's supposed to be, and they just resign into that fact, which is why we're having this conversation today, because it should not be like that. This should not be the norm, and it's time for that to change, right? So with that, because I see Jason itching, bring it on.
No. Listen, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the summary, Marissa. I find what Nadine is talking about, which she basically talked about women taking control of the narrative of their sexuality and setting the boundaries and so on and so forth. With, you know, and I know what recently happened with Kanice Jackson is an extreme case. But then also, one, I have seen what Nadine has talked about, you know, like Lady Saw's entire career as the queen of dancehall is a woman who controlled her sexuality and also demanded respect of any gender on the way she was presenting on the stage, so on and so forth. But I bring up like for example, what happened with Kanice Jackson lately is how have you found women who have like Lady Saw, like yourself, so on, who have controlled the way you present your sexuality and demanded respect for it? How have you been able to approach men who don't necessarily respect that? And I'm going to give a small example of something that happened to me both in Atlanta and in Jamaica. I was playing at a party, and the song, I remember we had gotten the song Jack It Up before most other sound systems. And I was very conflicted about playing it because of the way it presents women in the song, in my opinion, especially as I was very young. And in both situations, my life was threatened by a female. If I did not play the song, I would get cut. And so I'm throwing a whole hodgepodge of things, but I'm really coming to, with all of that presentation and knowing, say, there are many men who feel them can do what them do because we're, say, bigger and stronger than the woman, so to speak. How do women handle that, especially those who take charge of their sexuality, like we saw with Lady Saw and so on? Because, you know, food have to put on the table, rent have to pay, have to take the kids them to school. So, you know, how have they been able to navigate that? Because let's be real, enough men out the road don't respect the boundaries.
Okay, I am aware that some men some men, because I've had some beautiful men in my life who I have been in very vulnerable situations and they never exploited me sexually at all. So let's just be balanced, about that, because we can't, that's why I clarify and I say some men. No, first and foremost, I mean, the Kanice thing has upset everybody in terms of that we're still having that happen, the rape and the murder of our young girls. I don't think that is gonna be stomped out. I think, more laws. We have to look at the legislators right now. Are there enough laws? Do we need stronger laws? We can't do anything about people's mentality and their mental sickness. We have no power to dictate people's mentality and mental sickness. I think in terms of where I'm coming from to where I'm at, I think that we have a more, it's not permeated everywhere, but in terms of like speaking to a lot of men in comparison to back in the days, they would say, speak about abuse, understanding that it's not to be done. As I say, you're not gonna stomp it out. I don't think it will ever be stomped out. But I know men who are in my age group or a little bit older that used to beat their wives when they were younger, because in their social setting, that's what masculinity was defined as. Right. And I remember having a conversation with a man and he said to me, listen, if me beat my wife, and this man has grown so much that he's remorseful. This is a Jamaican man. But he didn't know any better. He would say, back in the days when I used to beat my girlfriend and cuss no caught, I mean, you guys understood. If she went to the police station, the policeman that said, go and get 2 lick, more lick. What you do? Look at the socialization. Now, there are rules implemented that if you beat your woman, she can go to the police station, and there's stuff that would happen that probably it would protect you. You can go jail. You can. So we cannot negate that there is progress in terms of male-female relationship and how men, that legislature. Do we need stronger legislation? Of course. Legislation, that's the word. Do we need more education stuff? It has to continue. It's nothing. It's not a process that is gonna stop. It's a journey that the continued education, because guess what? Patriarchy is still there. Misogyny is still there. Some men even feel resentful that them can't like woman. You hear some men, which is kind of sick. Actual rules no they're about to protect them. I mean, what is that?
Right. Mental illness, yeah.
Right. So in terms of, I don't think society is responsible for the mental illness that exists in people. I don't think it's going to be stomped out with every individual. Right. We don't know how a person's psychological and sociological inculcation happen. I don't know if it must up. People will have used it against their mother and take it out, but I don't know. I don't think society can police all of the citizens. But I think personally, growing up in the Caribbean, I mean, there are improvements in the general society. It don't stop out, but there are improvements. We have a more educated populace in terms of women understanding that it is wrong. Right. But also, as I said before, you have women who think right now, if your man don't like you, he don't love you.
Right. Right.
So it's almost like we go so, and it's always this, progress.
A step back. Yep.
Yes. So when will those mindsets be totally eradicated? I don't know, but I personally, who have grown up and seen man beat woman in my community and hear these right now, the level of that has decreased significantly. So there must be some degree of progress. That it's not erased completely.
Yeah.
But
I think to that point, Nadine, because I've been seeing that too, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with creating safe spaces for women, right? Because whereas before you didn't know who to run to when you're getting licks or whatever it is, now we're creating communities where women know, okay, I have a safe haven here. This person could protect me if something going on. And a big part of it is some men being a lot more vocal about protecting women, whereas before it was seen as betrayal of their boys.
They used to
Now
say-
it's like,
I agree with you.
yeah. Jason, what do you think? As the man on the team represents.
What I'm hearing is it's a journey, and it's not black and white. It's not immediate, unfortunately, because it now got done overnight. The misogyny to women is old as the history of existence of us on the planet. Mainly because men have felt that we're stronger than anybody else, so we can get to do what we want to do. So it's a journey, and then we have to make the commitment as men in whatever environment we're in to make sure that no woman have to deal with the foolishness that we're talking about here. And we have to learn to be sensitive. Like, I know I've been lucky. One of the reasons I even have an interaction with Nadine is because I've been blessed that I was surrounded by women who raised me to have a sensitivity. It shouldn't have to be that way, but it's just a reality. Because unfortunately, come out of the womb seeing what you see. And you know, coming from where I came from, you know, I was seeing a lot of the poor treatment of women, you know, as a youth just coming out. And that was like, no. But then I had women around me to show me that that was foolishness, you know, and I got lucky to have relationships with Nadine, our little sister Carrie. Like, they are very powerful women who will box me up if I dare cross the line and do any foolishness. But we as men,
a good point. Training of young people.
So like you said, it's not overnight. So it has to be generational. We constantly teaching our kids, teaching our girls what to accept, how to treat others, teaching our boys what to accept and how to treat others. So it has to be, you know, this constant, you know, when you're dealing with kids, when you're dealing with people, you have to constantly repeat yourself, say it over, say it in different ways, but it has to be, you know, a constant and consistent message. This is acceptable, this is not acceptable.
Constant reinforcement, because the society in general, there is, there's a, whether we like it or not, there's an hierarchical structure. I mean, in terms of how we grow our boys, how we grow our girls.
Thank you. Yep.
And you see, and it's very dysfunctional. And right now, we have to what the narratives we're saying to our boys, what's the narrative we're saying to our girls, what she should accept as a woman. First and foremost, oh my goodness, I never recognized that my phone was on, so it's ringing in the background. I hope you don't hear it. Okay, so the narrative was like back in the days that some women in my age group take anything from a man as long as you're married. Because the prize was you for marry.
Right.
You know, like when I look at it and I'm like, how can you put a human being as a prize to any human being? So you see how it go? The prize is a man. Okay, a man. You do good for keep the man. So they put this, you know, like a man was an achievement.
Right.
Another human being in the universe who just
Don't matter if he have killing in the night.
What's that?
I say don't matter if he have killing you know, every other day.
No, to have a man to show that you're married and your Mrs. This. And you look at when God created, you know, it's like who, you know, we have to really look at also some of the religions that we were growing with in the Caribbean.
Oh, wow. Whole other conversation.
Teaches about, you know, put patriarchy. I mean, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, where's a woman in it? She's missing. So that for some people, and these are subliminal messages that has been passing through us, you know.
Right.
In our headspace. So basically, the man get the nicer piece of chicken. No, I understand if he's a breadwinner and him coming home tired and all of that, because that's how the structure of some Caribbean household was. The woman never worked, the man did all of the work, so him get the best piece of chicken. I understand that, you know, but because you know the man is the breadwinner right there. but then what other stuff that we have subliminally taught, what were subliminally taught to us as women and also men. So you realize you get with them men who feels entitled because society has taught you that way. That's how you're socialized.
Right.
The society supports that. And that's in your mindset. You move and have your being because of your socialization. How do we break that? I mean, look at the man that was beating his wife. His evolution and age and moving to another country where that was wrong, and he could see, and you know, his guilt now in terms of what he did, and in, you know, so what as I can't, what's his name again? I can't say nothing in this dark.
Marissa and Trissa.
Trissa.
Other young lady, not Jason.
Trissa.
Right.
Marissa.
As you were saying about how you alluded, I don't remember, you were alluded to something, but
The kids, about your son.
right, the kids. How do we get those toxic energy out of them after a while? You have to really now be aware of what are we saying to our kids when
What
it
are we
comes
saying?
to
What are we showing them?
relationship and how we grow our children, because you grow and with the, you know, you grow your children with certain messages, and if you're growing your children and growing an entitled a boy with an entitled male complex, you're creating a monster for a woman who is gonna be out there.
Right? Oh yes.
And Nadine, I even that whole conversation about the man being the breadwinner, hence he deserves the best piece of the chicken. I would almost argue I don't even agree with that. Like I think that's the choice of the homemaker. If he wants to give him the best piece of the chicken, you have the agreement from day one. The only responsibility, says me, the only responsibility I have right now is to be the provider. It would be a wonderful thing in response, and I'm appreciated, but it's not an obligation for me to be appreciated.
Gotcha.
Now, it's nurturing, it is healthy for me to be appreciated, but it's not an obligation that I should be appreciated. So I would even almost disagree with that I deserve or I should get the best piece of fish.
I said I understood. I never said it was a given.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I said I understood.
Yeah.
All right. This conversation is so good, it's so deep, and we could keep on going, but I know time is wrapping up a little bit. So first of all, I want to acknowledge some of the people who are online with us. Herman, Big Herm, thank you for being here with us. Estita, Keisha, Rodney, thank you for engaging.
Big up Estita all the way from London. Hey, big up every time. And I want to big up Shernet and all the high fivers. Enough respect. See? We have a show. Nadine Sutherland there. Oh, you mean?
Yeah. Dropping gems. All right. So Nadine, you brought up a good point earlier about balance, right? And making sure we're putting out a balanced story there. This is not man bashing by any means. So what we want to talk about now is some of the successes that we've seen, that the strides women have made in Caribbean media and entertainment. And then we want to wrap up the conversation with some solutions on how we move forward and make sure we have a positive trajectory for women in media and entertainment. So any thoughts on...
Right, the balance. I really, you know, Bob Marley helped facilitated my early start. But I did a speech a couple of days ago, and I spoke about that I think that he was a forward thinker in terms of Diane Jobson, you know, a powerful woman that was standing by, was his legal counsel. But when Judy and Marcia speak about Bob Marley, they speak about being pregnant. And we know that in some Caribbean communities, the breed is such an awful word. Yeah, breed, like it's the worst. She breed, she got breed, you know. So, and you know, I remember walking around and there was a female vocalist. I won't say her name. She breed, that's why she never make it. She breed. Like the natural thing of pregnancy was something to be scorned. I mean, I'm a cultural studies scholar, and I really have to get into that mindset. Probably, I don't know if it's something coming from slavery, you know. But Marcia Griffiths and Judy Mowatt would tell me that Bob was the most sensitive during their pregnancies. So you could go on the road, say to your 6 month, what was that? Your second trimester? Probably the third trimester. You stay home. He's gonna pay you. It wouldn't be the I3, it would be the I2. Right? You drop your baby, you feel ready, you come back, it's an I3 on different terms. And they were like, they don't feel any stress about, losing their position. It was like, she can't breathe or anything like that. It was like, okay, you're pregnant, cool. Baba, and how he treated them also. The next thing that I want to point out is that when Judy Moore speaks about the iconic album, oh my God, Black Woman, Bob Marley supported her as the executive producer, as the producer, as the songwriter. A woman was able to capture her dreams and put it and condense it into a Black Woman album, having the support of a man who was not saying, I want to be everything. You do this. She was like, all right, sister, you have your album, support and love. I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? So that was big because he was doing that before it was a norm. But I juxtapose that now also to the 90s, that a lot of female vocalists got lost as background vocalists. Because men were, those time was a big voice DJ, the Shabba and the Butcher, my brethren then. So they were putting their money behind the male artists, and back then it was like female artists is either some archaic thoughts would be there, and a lot of them got lost as background vocals. I never really got the support that women are getting now in terms of moving forward. Juxtaposed to here, and you have a Ramesh that is supporting Shenshia. You have a protege who supported Lila Ike, Savannah, and that other young lady. I keep on forgetting her name. Right. So they're putting their money behind women. Look at the Jada Kingdom. Males who are putting their money behind women, seeing that they are supported, seeing that they can become superstar. That existed from long before. Now they are catching on. We had Whitney Houston back in the days. You had powerful female superstars. They were not really like, even if you put it across the American template, you have more male superstars, but they were females. People were putting money behind females and building their brand. Now I'm seeing it done from a very strategic paradigm. And it's like, you are gonna make more money. Ramesh and Shenshia, protege and his cadre of female singers. So I think in terms of right now, even in the administrative aspect of it, you see women who are doing their stuff. Sharon Burke has just defied everybody's expectation and have stood a stalwart in that music industry. So I've seen changes. Yes, it's not, music, there is still archaic mindset.
Right.
But at least you see that shifting, that paradigm shifting. And again, as I said before, these women are understanding that sexuality sells. And I will make sure that I sell my sexuality because it's part and parcel of what the music industry is right now. Some of them, I've seen changes in imaging. Lila Ike is regarded as a conscious artist. I think probably Queen Ifrica started changing that paradigm. Remember back in the day, Coffee. You look at it but look at it now. Look at Coffee, she have dreadlocks, but it's a less, well, I don't know if the Rasta Queens felt oppressive, but like you look at the Ritas and all of that, the conscious singers, the Shrouding and the Big Time and the Red, Gold and Green Regalia that I love. I call it Rasta Streak. Oh my God, I love it. No complaints. But in terms of having a more Babylonian kind of stuff, and it's not even in comparison to a Coffee to a Shenshia. Right. It's two different stuff, but in terms of a conscious artist back in the days, a Coffee wearing her pants and a little tomboy, she wouldn't even sit up because she would have to be shrouded in Rasta regalia.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And look at Queen Africa, Rastafari, and there are times when she dressed in her Rasta regalia, but you see Queen Africa like a cutest thing, and you see her sometimes dressed in her jeans and in her pants and her backless stuff. Back in the days, you wouldn't even see a Rasta queen even trying that. Yes, still some remain in their Rasta very, orthodoxy kind of what is expected of women. Some still remain, but I see changes in that, So it's an interesting thing to see in terms of, I think, some positive moves. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem in anybody dressing. I don't want nobody misquote me. So let me make sure my parents. Me just using an example. Remember, me say I treat to me the Rasta cheek was beautiful. So I have no problem. I'm just trying to say, look at mindset shift. So nobody come write me. I'm becoming no old people's day.
Right.
What I'm saying is that you see shifts in mindset, shifts in more, I think a lot of young women are getting more money than I got when I was at the top of my game. You see, that's another thing. They wouldn't want to pay a girl the same money as they pay a man.
Right.
Yeah, man, one female act. I remember one man looking at me and, he said to me, you can't buy a jeans. I was like, excuse me, you don't know if I want to buy real estate, dude. Why you think I want an extra jeans? So you see people, women getting more money. Probably is the man who drives it in terms of, your manager asking for more for you. So I think there are positive shifts in the entertainment and media. There are women also who are, I don't see any big woman producer as yet. I'm now seeing women as engineers. I've worked with girls who are engineers. So yeah.
Love it.
Well,
that's right.
That's some big talk you drop with us today. And it's interesting, you talk about what happened in the 90s where they wouldn't put money behind artists. And here's the thing, the first charting dancehall hit was by women, Donna and Althea, Uptown Ranking. So, and that was Billboard charting. So that's very interesting when, how our mindset missing out.
Yeah, right? Because I would think that after Althea and Donna, there will be replicas of Althea and Donna's, because of, women charted. But, it's like, it's a funny thing. That's how I speak about socialization. Sometimes to get a person out of that mold of something that is in you, that you move and have your being and you're not even aware,
Right.
It's crazy.
And it went years before we saw another dancehall hit charting. So it would make sense. Oh, nothing from dancehall hitting. Why don't we try the last one? Something like the last one.
Because there's a template right there that worked.
Right. And the thing is, the closest thing to it was the Marcia Aiken on the same rhythm. I'm Still in Love. So that's 3 women, no men. I'm just saying.
All right.
The mentality destroys so much.
It does.
So, okay, y'all. So this, I am so loving this. We have roughly 8 minutes, and I love to end with solutions. Let's talk about action steps that we could do to make sure we have, positive trajectory. So we're short on time. So if we could just maybe talk about 2 solutions, and then we could wrap it up. Nadine, honor and respect. You have been dropping so many gems and really appreciate it. So we'll start with you in terms of solutions, and then maybe add 1 or 2 more, and then wrap up.
Well, as I said before, it's still about mindset shifts. There are progress, but we still need to move. And as I said before, society is not a destination, it's a journey. And I've seen, I don't know if they're going to slink back into, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years. This part, you see mindset shifts. You see women who are more empowered in their headspaces. Right. So it's less that as society changes and how women in society view themselves, because information that are being introduced along the path. And you see women, getting stronger, because I think in general, in terms of what a woman, well, as I said before, it's not completely erased, but what a woman would have accepted back in certain days. I see a new generation of women who are more informed and know that it's wrong and treat themselves better and have more self-love. It will that kind of mindset would be replicated in the music industry. As I said before, the music industry has members of the society. So I think women in general, some of them are so smart, so bright. And also you look at it, back in the days, a bright, smart girl would not be encouraged even if she have talent to go in the music industry. Now they're like making that choice, and people seeing success stories of women. I said, okay, I will support you. So it's like some different dynamics that are being played out. But I still think that we need more conversations like these, because people will be listening, and shifting mindsets, changing as we go along, changing mindset. So that's just one of my solutions. Still, as I said before, reinforcement.
Reinforcement, indeed. Jason, Trista, any of you all have solutions?
Well, I think one of the things that we said earlier, which Nadine touched on again, men supporting women and not allowing the mentality to stop them. First of all, it makes sense. Like, as I said earlier, Master Aiken, down on Althea, chart-topping songs in Britain and the USA in 1972. Dancehall didn't see a chart-topping song again until Shabba, right? Which is crazy. 1972 until the middle 80s. So we didn't wake up and say, hey,
capitalize on that success.
Right, we didn't capitalize. So I think men having a different mentality, like, look here, as the gender don't stop you from making business. Number two, make sure that we're not using or looking at the woman as anything just for sexualization. And three, making sure we protect the woman where we can in any form that we see this happening, so it can just be real business, real moving forward, and let the Nadines of the world shine.
Chris, anything?
Yeah, just want to add, and piggybacking off something Nadine mentioned, is that having that safe space for young women to be able to express, what they're encountering, what type of relationships they may be in. And really, as we talked about earlier, it's teaching our kids what is acceptable and what is not acceptable as a young woman and as a young man. And I really think it'll be a journey, but I think we can do it. We need to, because our women are our foundation, that we need to protect. So
indeed.
I agree.
So we spoke about mindset shift. We spoke about protecting our women, creating safe spaces, teaching the generation next about what it means to honor and empower our women. I think that covers it. My only addition is making it okay for women to embrace their femininity. We didn't really touch on it much, but I've seen in my experience in media and entertainment, men tend to pay attention to women who are loud and aggressive or who are hypersexualized. And there's not that balance in the middle where you could just be a feminine woman who knows what you're doing and you're being impactful, so just making it okay for you to be who you are as a female. But I think this was such a rich and such a deep conversation. Nadine, oh my gosh, so much flowers, as Jason said as we started. I'll let him do his outro, but we just really, really thank you so much for all those insights. As I mentioned, this is the Caribbean Current, To Be Caribbean's Caribbean Current, where we like to spark important conversations in the Caribbean community. And we really wanted to end International Women's Month with a bang, because the violence against women is horrible right now. It's really amplified, and we need to protect our women as a society. So we wanted to have this conversation, and you were the perfect person to have it with. So thank you. I'm Marissa, founder of To Be Caribbean. We have Trissa, who is a founding member. She's also a producer for today. We have Jason, who's an honorable member who keeps us rolling, and he's going to do our outro because he's the hype man who always adds value. Thank you, Jason.
Best outro in the business.
Right?
Before I say anything, talking about support, Nadine, what are you working on now?
Yeah, thank you for that. Yep.
So many different projects coming out. I'm waiting on one of my songs. I have several songs to be released. I was the director for the performing arts for like a year, and it was my Nadine 40th. So I took the year off to thinking that, I was just, life is so funny. I tell people that I don't stay in the music industry. The music industry grabbed me when it want me. So that was a moment 2020 was supposed to be my Nadine 40th celebration. I was supposed to have the big show. And y'all know what happened with COVID. So all of, and as a result, new music was released. Chatty Chatty was released. Waganis was released on an international level. And I've gotten so much support. Then, you know, I have no new producers like, we want to do this, we want to do this. So I thought it was, you know, I was like, I don't even know what's going to happen. I'm going to do Nadine 40th for 2020. Music release, enough excitement and bashment started happening in my life. So here I am, 2021, again, recording, waiting on new music. So I don't know. So I'm here just like recording and just giving this time in my life that is flowing towards this. Because I genuinely believe in the flow of life. Because I've lived it and see the best way to live is not force against a tide that is inundating. You know, it's just like, yes, and the wave crash one direction, you go with it. So at this moment, tons of music to be done. And I said to myself, God, you give me this opportunity again to record. So a lot of music to come out. I can, you know, some say them putting out this month, one say I rise when, you know, the music industry goes. But I just ask you to be patient with me. There'll be a lot of new songs.
All right, Nadine. Well, big respect.
Can't wait.
Yep.
We can't wait for the big music. Waganis and Chatty Chatty is out right now. And you can get it on iTunes. You can get it any other platform them. Chatty Chatty, Nadine Sutherland, Waganis, Nadine Sutherland.
Yeah, just go and look at the video on YouTube. My niece them out.
YouTube?
Or it's YouTube, whatever. My niece is always laughing at me and say, Auntie, I was saying it wrong. So I get very conscious of it. YouTube. So check out the video, guys, and leave me a message.
Yes,
all right, people.
That's all, you know, Nadine Sutherland, Instagram, Nadine Sutherland, Facebook, Nadine Sutherland, Twitter.
And the Twitter one, the D is not there, just so you don't get shocked. That being said, people, big respect, Nadine Sutherland, the Princess of Reggae, Caribbean Kurrent, same time, same place. Keep on doing anything to be Caribbean.com. Marissa, Trisha, Asita, the whole crew, everybody that listens to
Nyla and Genesis, who are not here, but part of the team.
Nyla, Genesis, everybody. And Nadine, thank you again for being amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, everyone, God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Chatty!
Yeah. That is it. What is at Nadine Sutherland, right? Is Instagram where you can get more info.
And Nadine Sutherland, yeah, Instagram, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna end the live now, right?
All right, people. Next week, no matter chatty.
Peace.